Hello, this is Garrett and Andrew,
Hello.
and we're here to show you our cell project that we built in Minecraft. Alright, so this is a plant cell, and it's filled with organelles, which are different parts of the cell that work together to carry out the cell's processes. And we're going to go through each of the organelles to show you how the cell works. Alright, first up is the cell membrane. Cell membrane is this lime green block that surrounds the cell. And the cell membrane protects the cell and allows certain substances into the cell.
Next up, we have the cell wall, which are the dark green blocks around the cell membrane. The cell wall provides support for the cell membrane and prevents overexpansion when water enters.
Next up is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm includes all of the organelles within it. Just the sort of fluid-like part is the cytosol. And the cytoplasm gives the cell structure and holds all the organelles in place.
The nucleus, which are the purple. The nucleus holds the instructions for the cell's processes and holds the genetic code, which is DNA.
Next are the ribosomes. Ribosomes are these brown blocks scattered around. And the ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis. They create proteins for use throughout the cell.
The rough endoplasmic reticulum is the brown and orange blocks. The rough endoplasmic reticulum synthesizes lipids and proteins, and it contains ribosomes. So
yeah, that's why it contains ribosomes, because it also synthesizes proteins. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is the orange blocks over here, not covered in brown ribosomes. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum metabolizes carbohydrates and detoxifies cells after drug use.
the Golgi apparatus, the blue blocks, directs the movement of macromolecules around the cell and packages them. That's why it's known as the host office.
Next for the lysosomes, yellow blocks with gray marks. You can see they're over here. Lysosomes break down waste materials from other organelles through a process called autophagy.
Mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, are the yellow blocks also, but just different texture. Mitochondria synthesizes ATP, adenosine triphosphate, from glucose created in photosynthesis.
And ATP is the source of energy for all of the cell's processes. Next is the cytoskeleton, which is composed of two parts, the microfilaments and microtubules. Microfilaments are tiny hair-like structures made of the protein actin. They aid in cell movement. They're over here. They're these sort of gray tube-like things, but in real life, they actually look like hairs. And also the microtubules, which look very similar to the microfilaments, but they are slightly green. Microtubules are tiny tube-like structures made of protein tubulin. They hold the organelles in place.
The chloroplasts are organelles that synthesize glucose through photosynthesis. They contain the pigment chlorophyll.
And chlorophyll is a green pigment, and I'll just show you real quick inside a chloroplast. This is a chloroplast. Inside the chloroplast are what are called thylakoids, which are little folds. Inside the thylakoid membrane is where photosynthesis actually takes place. Next is, finally, is the central vacuole, which is this is the biggest organelle. And the central vacuole stores water and enzymes. It also maintains turgor pressure against the cell wall. And turgor pressure is the pressure of this water against the sides of the cell, and that's what gives the cell its boxy shape. And the cell wall cell wall's job is to keep the turgor pressure in check. Next, we'll head over to our lipid bilayer model. And yeah, so Andrew.
First up is the cell surface marker. Cell surface markers identify the type of cell the bilayer is protecting.
They're composed of two portions, the carbohydrate portion and the protein portion. Next are the receptor proteins. Receptor proteins are purple blocks. Receptor proteins recognize and bind to other molecules outside of the cell. And here's a receptor protein over here.
Transport proteins, also shown in purple blocks, assist substances in moving across the plasma membrane.
This is a transport protein over here. Now, as you can see, the transport protein goes entirely through the lipid bilayer. That's because it transports substances across the bilayer. Next are peripheral proteins, also purple. Peripheral proteins such as enzymes can help catalyze chemical reactions. There's one up here.
Enzymes, which are shown in the kind of brown rocks, speed up chemical reactions by lowering the activation energy needed to start the reaction.
Alright, next is cholesterol. It's these light blue blocks you can find around the bilayer. Cholesterol increases membrane packing, which reduces viscosity and stiffens the membrane.
The hydrophobic tails, which are the long tails of starter's tails, are the tails of the membrane are non-polar, which means they do not go into water.
It means they repel water. And finally, the hydrophilic heads, which are these shiny gold heads. The heads of the lipid bilayer are polar, which means they attract water. Alright, this has been our cell project, composed of two parts, our actual cell and our lipid bilayer model. It was a joy making this, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.